So it's my pleasure to introduce not only the head coach, but a good friend, Dwane Casey.
Thank you, Matt. And I really take that as a compliment because Matt's been around some great coaches, Hubie Brown at Memphis and some other great coaches around the league, and I really, truly take it as a compliment. Because as you know, as coaches, you know, our lives are like this. If you're a professional coach or if you've been in coaching a long time, you know there's good days and bad days, and the way you handle the bad days is going to probably determine your success. You know, and that's kind of the way I like to live is making sure we handle the tough days in our lives because you're going to have some. Whether it's a young man or young lady that you're working with, having a problem at home, problem learning the zone offense or out of bounds play or handling the basketball, whatever level it is always going to be something. So as a teacher, as a coach, it's always handling the tough times. You just noticed an NBA shoot-around. Today wasn't a typical shoot-around. We kind of came in extra today for you guys because we had our regular shoot-around yesterday, a full shoot-around. And the main reason for that is because it's an early game today, and anytime we have an early game on Sunday, we usually do our shoot-arounds the day before. So our shoot-arounds we have to treat as practices because of the fact we're such a young team that we cannot waste any time. And it's kind of not the NBA norm because with a veteran team like we had in Dallas last year, we had to have time off because our point guard was 39 years old going on 40. And so we had to save as much as possible with him. But with a young team, we have to utilize our practices. We came in the other day after a shoot-around, after a back-to-back. And the main reason for that wasn't because of punishment, because we had beat New Orleans. It was because practice days are precious for us right now because we have very few of them, and we have to make sure we win the practices as well as the games, try to win the games. For us this year, that's kind of my approach, win the practices. Because if we don't go out and practice and try to get something out of it, then it's a lost day. And we can't afford to have lost days. Just like today, we held Andrea Bagnani, who's been out for a while, who's kind of behind on some new sets that we're going to have to try to force feed him to get him back up to speed on some of the sets because there's a big difference of standing on the sidelines watching versus being out there on the floor. So those are the kind of the thought processes we're going through now with our practices and as far as what we're doing, what we did today. But again, we treat shoot-arounds just like a practice. We do our shell drill. We do our defensive drills. We do our offensive sets because I don't feel like a coach, you can drill your offensive sets enough. Repetition, repetition, repetition with your offensive plays or your fundamentals. And that's something that when I was a college coach at the University of Kentucky that I didn't realize about the NBA of how important even coaching and teaching the fundamentals are in the NBA. I thought in the NBA you just roll the ball out and they just play basketball, and that is totally not true. We emphasize, especially with young players, the fundamentals as much as far as footwork, stance, talking. I mean, you cannot talk enough. The hardest thing I think in the NBA to get an NBA player to do is talk. You know, whether back screen, down screen. Okay, I'm coming to screen you. You know, this is talking to me. This is talking. Pointing is talking. All those communication guidelines are so important. One, it helps us to work together. It ties us together as teammates. Two, it tells the other team that we're tied together. Well, these guys know what they're doing. They're together. They got enthusiasm. They're ready to play when you're talking. A talking team tells you how connected that team is, if that team is talking. You know, and a lot of times young players will not talk because they're afraid of saying the wrong thing. And I tell guys all the time, I don't care if you say something wrong, say something. And because most of the time guys will be reluctant to say because they're not sure whether it's a down screen, back screen, or whatever the action is. Most of the time I've found that's why they don't talk is because they're not sure. So it's on us as coaches to make sure we keep reinforcing talk. Whether you say something wrong or not, communication, because sooner or later they're going to get the action right, and now you really have something at that time. And again, I've been a college coach. I was at the University of Kentucky, Western Kentucky, graduate assistant at University of Kentucky, and through the years, those fundamentals have been very, very consistent. Stance, talking, and on any championship level, you know, everybody talks about, you know, we want to score 110 points, 120 points, and all that. But how many teams have you seen, whether it's college, high school, or the NBA, that have won championships that are this type of team? Now, unless it's a high school team that has all the best players in your city, that could be the case. But as you move up higher, defense wins. Defense wins the championship. And when we first went to Dallas, it was the same challenge we had coming here. It was changing the culture from an offensive mentality to a defensive mentality. That's the hardest thing to do in sports, is to change that culture. But to win a championship, you've got to be together defensively. And when we went to Dallas, Dirk Nowitzki didn't want to hear defense. You know, he says, Coach, my defense is my offense. But by the end of year 3, he was talking, he was communicating. Dirk was down in a stance. He took pride in his defense because it's something we preached and worked on, and it became a habit. You know, talking's a habit, stance is a habit. It's what you emphasize each and every day is what's going to become important to your players. So all those things are very achievable goals for you as a coach, as a high school coach, elementary coach, whatever level. Those fundamentals are going to be the same. And I've had the opportunity to work for a lot of great coaches in my coaching career. Coach Joe B. Hall at the University of Kentucky, who worked under Coach Rupp at the University of Kentucky. Believe me, the fundamentals were just as important then as they are now. And that's something I've learned. And again, I learn every day. And if, as a coach or a teacher, you don't learn each and every day, it's the time to change professions. Because, you know, even now, I'm a sponge. I could learn, I know, I'm sure, a drill that some of you guys, ladies, have from your school. And, you know, never stop learning. You being here today is a great compliment to you because you're here to learn. You're here to pick up, if it's just something little, whether it's a word, or phrase, or a drill, or terminology, whatever it is, it's something you can take back and help your young ladies, young men to accomplish. And what I like to do is answer any questions that you might have about basketball, Dallas, University of Kentucky, high school in the States, whatever it is, offense, defense, I'll try to answer it. Uh-huh.
1, 2, 1, 2.
And by the way, these little pieces of paper we have all of our drills listed, plays listed on the back of them. We have all our drills with a time, how long we want to go with each one of them on the front. As you can see my scribbles, I make notes to myself, and I keep these after practice. I have a whole I've got boxes because over the years I've kept each and every drill, whether it's at college or Dallas or Minnesota or Seattle. So I've got boxes, and my wife is all over me about when am I going to throw away those boxes. But I've kept them over the years. I need to find somebody to program them and download them on a computer. But the organization is very important, and we do the same thing here. I'm sorry.
Wow. Hey, Dwane, my